Alex Jones joins us right here in the studio with his big announcement, and here he is.
Mike, it is great to be here with you. First off, when you started the broadcast earlier today, you were talking about the petition to go into federal court and begin the charges of treason against Dianne Feinstein. Our country was born out of British citizens when the government tried to come and confiscate their legally owned firearms. In fact, they had their blunderbuss, their long rifles, their muskets, all of it. They also had cannons. The citizens had their military arms to protect themselves. Those were the right of free men. It's just that simple. And when you look at Dianne Feinstein, this is a globalist operative. This is a psychopathic, authoritarian, overtly evil person.
Absolutely.
The biggest problem I hear from so-called conservative talk radio is it's how the liberals are dumb and the liberals are stupid and how they don't know what they're doing. They all have bodyguards. They're all into guns.
Yep.
You know, Bloomberg owns his own helicopters and, you know, sits there and lobbies, you know, for more and more armaments and weapons for his detail. They are in control because they have a lust for power, and they've gotten rid of all of our basic liberties. They're trying to get rid of the First Amendment right now. You talk about what Facebook's doing with the purge. You talk about cybersecurity. You talk about now how they say they're going to genetically profile people that are aggressive and not let you get government health care to have your child, even if you have your own money, if you don't agree to your embryo being government approved.
Well, hey, they're getting the DNA from Lanza's dead body to profile for the evil gene now.
No, exactly. This is all about we're all guilty, we're all bad, we're all criminals. Gun owners are murderers, gun owners are racist, gun owners are Ku Klux Klan, while the establishment itself are raving authoritarian trash. And so it is not extreme to call her a treasonous, treacherous, larcenous witch when she's trying to steal the most bedrock of liberties. If you can't be armed, and because you lose your rights because somebody else does something bad, you're not living in a free society. So last Sunday on the show, last Sunday on the broadcast, a caller called in from Arkansas and said, you should have a petition for gun-free zones around politicians where they don't have bodyguards with submachine guns and with semi-automatic handguns or full auto or whatever. They fetishize. Whenever I was at Bilderberg in 2008, when Hillary and Obama drove in the Secret Service motorcade of about 8 different big black SUVs, Suburbans, they lifted up with MP5 Heckler, you know, H&K, 9mm, and the Secret Service, it's on video, lifted it up and pointed it at us. We're standing there. We're citizens with bullhorns. They don't like that. They were saying, hey, we're Mao Zedong. Our power grows out of a barrel of a gun, like it was going to scare us. And we had Marines, who they had as the protective detail for the State Department. They had Marines out there on the grounds, and occasionally when they didn't think a camera was aiming, they would put a rifle up and aim it at us to intimidate us. So this is a criminal government class that's taken our money, built its giant military-industrial complex infrastructure that Eisenhower warned us about, who is now openly telling us, that's
and 1.6 billion rounds of ammo.
Let's do a document cam for viewers of that. The document cam shot's right over there by the mouse. Hold it right there, and they can give a shot for viewers out there of that. That's the standard area right there to show it.
But yeah, the government's...
there you go. Guns are bad. He's sitting on top of 1.6 billion rounds, tens of millions of guns, armored vehicles, tanks, all of it. But he's pointing down at the American gun owner, saying guns are bad. He's bombing people, tripling what Bush did. The numbers are now out, tripling drones, saying it's okay to kill 200 innocent people to get one bad guy, blowing children's faces off, arms and legs off, but then fake crying. So here's the big announcement. Last Sunday, the caller called in, and I just got so busy, you know, over the week, I didn't put it out. But another one was put out about gun-free zones around politicians, saying they can't have guns and people can't have guns. And somebody else did it because we didn't do it, and that's great. It's got about 6,000 signatures, and Adon Salazar wrote an article about it that just went up at Infowars.com. But above that, red-linked, is the Kurt Nemo article and the petition I wrote this morning with Kurt and posted just an hour ago to whitehouse.gov. And people say, well, White House is going to ignore what you do. Doesn't matter. The media, the public sees it. See, they use small petitions to call for banning guns a week after, saying, look, the people want it. Right. I'm going to take your guns. The idea of a democracy versus a republic. So we're going in there, even if they ignore our petitions, and using it as a focal point. So there it is. Petition calls for gun-free zones at White House and federal buildings. And we're also calling, again, for all federal security forces, feds, for them to turn their guns in. Because what we've been told, Mike, and they've actually said the guns did this. They say the guns come out, and the guns come out at night, and they become animated like a cartoon, and at midnight they dance around. Yeah, something out of Fantasia and Night on Bald Mountain. Go ahead.
Well, it's brilliant because it's using their own logic against them. Their own logic says that the gun-free zone sign is what stops gun violence. So, and if they disarm the schools, the children will be safe, they say. So, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Let's disarm the White House. They'll be safe then.
The communists took guns all over Europe and in Australia and New Zealand and England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland in the 80s and 90s. They would send in people on the mental patient list or government toadies or known pedophiles, providing pedophiles to the police and others, or providing children to them. That's come out with these characters. We know they've been caught doing it before, who go in and shoot kids up in a school. So they had the same plan here. In 1990, they come in, they pass a law, no guns, period, in schools. Not teachers, not concealed carry, not parents, not anybody. And then they advertised, don't come to the school and kill people, to get mentally ill people or their operatives to go do it. Then they use the kill zones. See, crime's gone down, as we showed in the FBI statistics, precipitously all over the U.S. because gun ownership's gone up the last 20 years. Right. They're desperate. They're losing. That idea of the government can't protect you, and the witch Feinstein, who has her own concealed carry and her own bodyguards, and Michael Moore, whose bodyguard got arrested at the airport with a gun. They've got their guns. They're dominators. The instinct of the dictator, the instinct of the pig, of the control freak, the instinct of the king rat, the instinct of the control freak, the instinct of the psychopath, the instinct of the Mao Zedong is to take the guns so only they have the guns. Hitler, Stalin, Mao, the ancient Romans took swords from their slaves. It's that simple. So we've launched, this just went up at Infowars.com. It is red-linked, our new petition written off of the actual unconstitutional federal law they've gotten, the Safe Schools Gun-Free Zone Act of 1990, saying, okay, you say no guns in an area makes it safe, actually makes it safe for the bad guys. We want the White House and every federal building to be gun-free, and we want all of the government training centers. Since you've disarmed those public schools, we now want all the private schools, like David Gregory of NBC, his kids go to with 11 armed guards.
Or Obama's kids.
Or Obama's daughter. We want the guns from those private security guards gone. Imagine being David Gregory last week with Wayne LaPierre of the NRA on television, when Wayne LaPierre said, do what Israel did when they got attacked in schools, arm the teachers, which they did. The media later came out and said that wasn't true, thinking we're dumb when it's on record. Then Gregory came out to say that's preposterous, that won't keep you safe, knowing his daughters go to one of the only private schools in D.C. with armed guards.
Yeah, and then he showed, what, a 30-round magazine on the air, which was a violation of D.C. laws, so he becomes suddenly ensnared in his own gun control agenda.
Exactly. So I want to fire the bat searchlight up here for alternative media, pro-liberty media out there, everybody. If you will go to Infowars.com, and we're also going to post this, just went up at prisonplanet.com, our backup site. If you will go there and get this and email it out to everyone and email it out to local talk show hosts, we'll get enough of a buzz going on this to really expose the hypocrisy of Obama and the fact that he's protected with guns, but that he doesn't want your children to be protected with guns. And we're also going to add to this the video and the interview Jakari Jackson did with the Texas superintendent who 5 years ago armed their teachers because their the closest police station is 30 minutes away. so they can protect their people. We either go on the offensive or lose our Second Amendment. And again, I want to give credit here and talk about Piers Morgan. Then we'll go to break. I'll come back. We'll do a final segment with Doug Hagman. You'll leave us, and I'll come back for a full hour continuing with Doug Hagman and then phone calls. But I want to make this point right now. It's a great exercise in media disinformation and control that when the magnanimous, mighty king of true media, drudgereport.com last Friday, picked up on our White House petition and linked to Infowars.com and gave us the credit. And we're not looking for the credit. It just is wrong when it's not given. It's unjournalistic. And it shows how scared the old dinosaur media is, Mike, because he put that up. Now, our listeners already circulated. It had like 6,000, 7,000 signatures. It was going to be a news story. Yeah. But Drudge put it up, and Huffington Post attacked it. And the Atlantic Wire attacked it, and some others attacked Drudge. But then the media picked it up. I don't think of everything I've done in 17 years we've ever had, some days 3,000, 4,000 articles a day. But only I could count on two hands the number that said, hey, it was Infowars.com. It was, it was credit. Again, well, it's not even about that. It's that any other time they'll say who did the petition. Of course. But in this case, they didn't give Infowars.com credit. They didn't give DrudgeReport.com credit, which is just amazing. And then they ran around and spun it and said, we're anti-free speech. No, he's trying to get rid of our right to the Second Amendment and to self-defense. He, as a foreigner, has a right to his opinion. He doesn't have a right to come here as a subversive. The reason I'm getting into this now is I didn't really talk about it yesterday, and I should have. I was so focused on the open announcements that they want to register, fingerprint all gun owners, and ban physically most guns.
But Piers Morgan is not an American citizen. He does not have the Bill of Rights. If he wanted a Bill of Rights, he should have fought for it like our founding fathers did.
Well, he didn't. His ancestors fought against it.
Exactly.
But exactly. The issue is he is clearly involved in what they call an attempted overthrow of our Bill of Rights and Constitution. Because our Bill of Rights and Constitution, it is the government. It is we the people. It is the country. It is what the flag symbolizes. And so when Dianne Feinstein attacks it, she's a traitor. She's engaged in sedition because she's a citizen, even though she really is just a globalist operative, an enemy within, to quote Cicero. But to expand on that, Mike, under the Supreme Court rulings, because within hours the Wall Street Journal came out and defended our petition, still didn't give us credit, but whatever, and said, no, here's the Supreme Court ruling from the 70s with communists that would come here calling for an overthrow of the Bill of Rights because they always want tyranny once they get control. It is subversion. So he is guilty of subversion. He is guilty of subversion.
20 seconds.
And it's just amazing that it got this much attention. So the goal was met to point we've got foreign globalists in here in our face trying to dictate and control our internal politics. We'll be back with Mike Adams, Doug Hagman, and more. I'm your host, Alex Jones, riding shotgun.
We're back on the Alex Jones Show. Thank you for joining us. This is Mike Adams riding shotgun with Alex Jones himself in the studio here, who just announced a major news-making petition, and I'll let you continue with well, again, thanks for coming in and doing 2.5 hours of the show. I'm going to come back and do an hour with Doug Hagman. I'm going to do about 20 minutes with him and then get into some other news. You know, you were telling me I missed it, even though I checked the site a lot. DrudgeReport.com had the headline. You were saying, Civil War, they're coming for the handguns. Yeah, that was, I think, yesterday or the day before. It said, Civil War, they're coming for your handguns.
Well, that is exactly what they're announcing. For those that don't know, they're saying that whatever guns we let you keep, we're going to register. And whatever guns that, you know, we take is basically up to us. Fingerprinting, all of this, they follow this exact pattern. Yeah. Once they register, they then always ban.
Yes.
I mean, this is so hardcore. And more you look at Sandy Hook, I got to say it looks like Operation Gladio. Looks like Operation Northwoods, both of which were U.S. government plans to stage mass shootings and blame liberties. So we're going to do a report on that on Monday. I'll also be back live Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. with the Sunday show, breaking all of this down. But in closing, I just want to give credit to naturalnews.com, drudgereport.com, Infowars.com, all the real media that actually supports the Bill of Rights and Constitution. We're seeing an anemic, pathetic defense of the Second Amendment.
We're finding out who the real
by mainline Republican sites. We're seeing mainline Republicans in droves come out and say it's reasonable to turn your semi-autos in because the foreign banks pay for them. They are the ones giving them the money. So again, I think this can be an even bigger petition to draw attention to the treasonous activity of the gun grabbers than the Piers Morgan one.
Oh, yeah.
And I never asked Drudge to link to stuff, but if Drudge, and crew are out there listening, and if they think this is an important petition, I know if it goes up on the mighty Drudge, it will get out there. But regardless, if listeners go to Infowars.com and get the article, Petition Calls for Gun-Free Zone at White House and federal buildings, and we go on to call for private schools attended by politicians to have their guns taken as well.
Yeah.
Because the politicians don't send their kids to government training camps where they've been disarmed. Now, there's loopholes in the federal law to allow the arming of teachers and principals like Texas is doing. We need to, and we're going to have that added to the article, about the petition so people can get this out too and say this is the model. But as you said, we're illustrating their absurdity, their hypocrisy, their fraud of David Gregory and others in this article that links to the petition. And we need to get this petition, even though Obama's going to ignore it. We got, I'd probably say $15, $20 million of media coverage. There are companies that try to get a story as big as that Piers Morgan and spend millions and can't do it, okay?
True, yeah.
Okay, globalists can't get something out like that. We're using logic, and the truth trumps propaganda and lies. And so if we the people, this petition's even better. Again, we've pointed out we got a red coat telling us what to do. England's got a petition saying don't send him back. Piers Morgan is in trouble.
Please
okay,
don't send us Piers Morgan.
Okay, again, we use their fake petition system that Obama cherry picks against them. If people get this petition calls for gun-free zones at White House and federal buildings, calls for his detail to be disarmed. Because again, they say no guns means less crime.
Of course.
Even though that's not true. This will really show their hypocrisy if we can get the corporate whore media, the snot-nosed Atlantic Wire, to come out and go, look at the pathetic Drudge and Jones. Look at the pathetics. They think people are going to sign this petition. No one's going to sign it. That's what they first said Friday night.
We can get
that blew up in their faces. Exactly. And again, the goal is to have the media snot-nosed put us down and say that, oh, that's ridiculous saying take the president's people's guns. It'll blow up in their face, and see, we got to fight them hard on this. We got to go after them.
Yeah.
We got to hit them every level. That's why they went after Wayne LaPierre and said, how dare you? How dare you say Israel has guns to make their kids safe? That's not true.
All right,
they had to lie. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?